May I invite our guest of honor, Mr. Chee Tat, Senior Minister of State, Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Singapore, for his opening address. Let's give a warm welcome to SMS, please.
Your Excellency, Ms. Anita Nagod, Ambassador of Norway to Singapore. Your Excellency, Ms. Sandra Jensen Landy, Ambassador of Denmark to Singapore. Mr. Ngiam Chiang Ming, Chairman of MPA. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all of you. COVID-19 has disrupted our jobs and our lives. Border restrictions and port closures in some parts of the world have impacted global supply chains, resulting in congestions and schedule disruptions which continue to affect many countries today. More recently, the situation worsened when container ship Ever Given blocked the Suez Canal for several days, affecting global seaborne trade. Yet, through it all, the maritime sector has remained resilient. Ships have continued to sail, and cargoes are being delivered to consumers around the world. This outcome did not happen by chance. It was due to the sacrifices of the men and women working in our ports, shipping lines, and maritime industry. They have worked tirelessly to keep global supply chains moving. Indeed, COVID-19 has reminded us that necessity is the mother of innovation. Our industry responded to the pandemic by developing many innovative solutions. A good example is in the area of remote and contactless operations. Because public health measures have made it more challenging for engineers to go on site, ships are being inspected remotely. Classification societies like the American Bureau of Shipping, Bureau Veritas, and DNVGL have carried out more underwater inspections and surveys using remotely operated vehicles. These initiatives lead to greater efficiency and enhanced safety for maritime workers. A second area of change is the higher demand for digital transactions. Now, to be clear, this already started before COVID-19. But I think COVID-19 brought about a greater sense of urgency and impetus for everyone in the industry to embrace technology. Ships Focus. This is a local maritime tech startup. They have developed a digital service to aggregate the demand and booking of launch services by ship agents called Alice. Bookings were previously made through phone calls and hard copy forms, but they can now be done round the clock on a digital platform in a contactless and efficient way. Some of these technologies were developed before the pandemic, and what COVID-19 did was to provide the right conditions and also the right incentives for the solutions to take off. As they say, success happens when opportunity meets preparation. Technology's pivotal role in helping the maritime sector stay resilient during the pandemic will continue to come true as we build the post-COVID world. To achieve this outcome, we will need to focus on two important enablers in our maritime ecosystem. First, an environment that supports risk-taking and experimentation. And second, an industry that encourages collaborations with both internal and external partners. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to build an ecosystem that encourages experimentation and creative solutioning. It is not about avoiding failure completely. It is about providing a safe space to fail, so that companies and individuals have a conducive environment to try new ideas and are prepared for many of these experiments to fail before a successful idea eventually emerges that could lead to sustainable and scalable solutions. Yesterday, during the Maritime lecture, Mr. Yi Yang Chen, CEO of MISC Group, said in his speech, and I quote him, "It is better to have tried and failed than not trying at all." And I think that is the right spirit. This approach supports our vision of becoming the Silicon Valley of the maritime world, where ideas and talents come together to develop innovative maritime solutions that can transform the industry and bring about more benefits, new opportunities for our companies and our workers. We plan to achieve this through 3 strategies. First, we aim to attract more technology firms to Singapore and work with maritime companies to develop solutions that can solve the industry's challenges. Through Pier 71, our target is to grow the number of Singapore-based maritime technology startups from about 30 to 100 by 2025. To support this effort, MPA will set aside $10 million from the Maritime Innovation and Technology, or MIN Fund, to drive the growth and development of maritime technology startups in Singapore. MPA will also set up a new grant scheme called Mint Startup to support both startups and scale-ups. Through the scheme, startups that have completed the Pier 71 or other relevant maritime acceleration programs in Singapore can apply for a grant of up to $50,000 for their projects. Promising scale-ups can also apply for a grant of up to $100,000. Second, we'll provide sandboxes for new technology to be piloted in a safer environment, and this will allow us to better assess the risks and the viability of new solutions. MPA will officially launch the Maritime Drone Estate this afternoon. Interest in the use of drones for maritime applications has grown in recent years. Drones can be used in many ways in the maritime sector, such as to deliver supplies or to conduct inspections. These technologies can help the Port of Singapore and also ports around the world to become more productive and more efficient. In the last 2 years, we have been facilitating the testing of drone use cases in a sandbox environment for maritime industry players. The drone estate's location at Marina South is an ideal one because it is located next to the port waters and also near active anchorages used by thousands of vessels annually. Startups such as locally founded F-Drones have benefited from the drone estate to conduct trials for technology development. The company has recently raised seed capital from the industry to support its growth, so I'm very happy for them. We hope to grow more maritime startups like F-Drones, and we will continue to support them at the Maritime Drone Estate at Marina South. Let me now touch on the second area of how we can encourage the industry to enhance its collaborations with internal and external partners. To speed up the pace of innovation, we have to first look deep within our sector to understand the key challenges and constraints and recognize that the solutions can come from both internal and external sources. Some of the solutions, some of the good ideas may not originate from the maritime sector, but could come from other sectors. Likewise, new opportunities can emerge from adjacent sectors. For example, the growth of advanced manufacturing, biomedical sciences, agri-tech, and e-commerce will open up new doors for the maritime and logistics sectors, including opportunities for multimodal connectivity. This is why we also have to look beyond our sector to discover new technologies and new ways of doing things, better ways of doing things. To succeed as an innovation hub, we must remain open to ideas and talents from around the world and strengthen our links with our local and global partners. If we start to look inwards and pretend that we can do everything ourselves, do everything on our own, or if we reject ideas and we reject people who are different from us, we are actually shooting ourselves in the foot, because ultimately we are reducing our own chances of becoming a vibrant maritime hub. At the dialogue yesterday, the panel discussed whether collaboration allows us to move faster or to travel further. I think it is not one or the other. I think it is both. It's not all but and. I believe that collaboration is a bit like how a flock of geese, when they fly in a formation, they help one another to be able to fly faster, but also to be able to travel further. And that is what I hope we can do in our maritime industry, through the collaborations with internal and external partners. This has been why, over the years, Maritime Singapore has worked closely with local and international partners to discover and implement solutions in our maritime industry. And we will renew our commitment. On the local front, MPA will be signing the 4th Memorandum of Understanding with PSA on the Port Technology R&D program. This MOU will support R&D programs for our next bound of growth at the future Tuas Port. When fully operational in the 2040s, Tuas Port will be a fully automated and green port that can handle up to 65 million TEUs. On the international front, MPA will extend the Memorandum of Understanding with the Research Council of Norway for the 8th term. This MOU will enable our research institutes in Singapore and Norway to form partnerships with maritime companies in both countries. Both Norway and Singapore have a strong maritime tradition, and I think this partnership will allow us to further support our research institutes and our companies to go even further. And I hope through this collaboration, they can develop new capabilities in areas such as maritime digitalization and sustainable shipping. It is also important for us to achieve this outcome to have interoperable systems and solutions that can encourage collaborations and scale across countries and sectors. A good example is the use of containers to transport goods around the world. Now, the use of containers started in the 1940s and 1950s, but it was only when the sizes of containers were standardized in the 1960s that container shipping took off in a bigger way. With standardized container sizes, shipbuilders could scale the production of their vessels, and ports could do likewise with their equipment such as key cranes and trucks. So this is an important part of achieving that quick adoption, that scaling up across different countries. So the same will apply to the ongoing digitalization efforts in the maritime sector. We have to continue pushing for common data standards so that we can integrate our networks and our systems. Don't end up with silos that can't talk to one another, data that cannot be exchanged, because then you lose that network effect. And I believe this is an important part of our strategy to propel further adoption of digital solutions across global supply chains. The first area that MPA and partners have been working on is the Bill of Lading. It is a document of title providing proof of ownership of cargo during transit. As such, supply chain players have traditionally relied on holding the physical copy as a safeguard. The processing of physical copies of bills of lading has been a bottleneck against greater efficiency in the maritime sector. I mean, just imagine you have to hold on to hard copies, not the most efficient way of doing things. So the industry has been discussing on the use of electronic bill of lading. And this discussion has gone on for some years now. But it has been encumbered by multiple implementation challenges. So electronic bills of lading, like their paper counterparts, need to be commonly recognized and accepted by industry and also across borders. Only then can there be more widespread adoption. Singapore knows that the future lies in digital trade. We are one of the first maritime nations to enact a legislative framework that is aligned with the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law's model law on electronic transferable records. We have successfully completed an EBL trial between the Singapore and Rotterdam ports in January 2021. This marks a milestone towards the digitalization of the important Europe-Far East trade routes, which these two major transshipment ports serve. This trial is significant in two respects. First, it demonstrated interoperability of electronic title transfer across trade platforms, DLT ledgers from Singapore and Naviporta from the Netherlands. And this was facilitated by MPA and IMDA's Trade Trust Digital Utility, which is based on open standards. Second, there's tangible commercial value and benefit. The trial showed significant time savings in using the EBL, from an average of 6 to 10 days when you're using a hard copy to less than 24 hours when you use the EBL. So 6 to 10 days, now reduced to within 24 hours. To accelerate the adoption of EBLs, MPA, supported by IMDA and the Digital Container Shipping Association, will be issuing a call for proposal to bring together industry players and solution providers to develop and pilot EBL solutions leveraging recent technology and legislation developments. And I hope the industry will participate in this call for proposal. Let us have your ideas. And I hope that this will be one further step that we can take together with you to further advance what we have achieved in this area. The second area that I want to talk about under this topic is digital oceans. This is a key project that will facilitate seamless ship-to-port connectivity through effective and harmonized information exchange between ports and ships. And this will help to speed up port clearances and reduces the administrative load on vessels, shippers, and agents. The Digital Container Shipping Association will be officially joining MPA and 6 other MOU signatories of digital oceans in this key project. As an industry body representing 9 of the top container liners in the world and accounting for 70% of global container trade, DCSA's partnership will give a huge boost in this collaborative effort towards greater interoperability of digital maritime platforms. Our strive towards greater standardization is part of our broader efforts to integrate networks and systems. We will be making further moves to digitalize our bunkering sector to enhance Singapore's position as the world's largest bunkering hub port in the world. MPA is launching a digitalization plan for the bunker sector, and it will cover 2 key areas. First, MPA will enhance the regulatory reporting process to receive data from bunker companies automatically and securely. A new MPA system, Digital Bunker at SG, will be developed to save the sector an estimated 1,400 man-days annually. Second, MPA will be issuing a call for joint industry projects to digitalize the end-to-end bunker purchase and delivery process, as well as documentation such as the electronic bunker delivery note. Again, I think this is something that will improve the security of the process and also speed up on the efficiency front. The sector can benefit from a highly digitalized workflow across many stakeholders, including customers and financial institutions. And this will lead to higher productivity and stronger confidence in Singapore's bunker industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to end my speech by sharing a story with you, something that I mentioned during the Committee of Supply debate in Parliament earlier this year. And this is about a boat in a summer palace in Beijing. There is a stone boat in the summer palace that was built by Emperor Tianlong during the Qing dynasty. Now, Emperor Tianlong had hoped that the Qing dynasty would be like the stone boat, unshakable and unsinkable. Unfortunately, the stone boat is also unsailable because it can't move. And we know what eventually happened to the Qing dynasty because it became risk-averse and it closed its doors to the outside world. When we build ships, it is not to anchor them in the harbor or to put them in the lake in the summer palace. It is to sail out to the oceans, to the open seas, including going into uncharted waters. To be an innovative maritime hub, we must have the pioneering spirit and sense of adventure that run in the blood of seafarers. Willing to leave our comfort zones and take calculated risks, never giving up where we encounter challenges and setbacks, and always looking to discover new lands and that pot of gold under the rainbow. I wish you all an enriching conference ahead. Thank you.